Ramneek, I see that you are muted. I want to bring you on though now. Can you hear me? How are we doing, brother? Are you live?
All right.
Yes, he is live. Okay, I appreciate you coming on, brother. So I'm going to set the stage a little bit here. Um, so for those that don't know, and I'm going to link to all this stuff. We have Ramneek Kundra on the show. He's actually joining us from New Delhi, India. I think it's about like almost 10 p.m. there, so we appreciate him coming on this late. But there was a recent investment from Facebook, 5.7 billion into geo platforms. And this was, as far as I can tell, and Ramneek, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the biggest deal since the pandemic started. So he had an epic tweet thread about it, laying it all out. And I reached out to him. I said, dude, this is epic. Can you come on the show and riff on this? We're going to link to all that in the show notes. But Ramneek, can you just thank you so much for coming on. This is epic to have you. Can you just start by just laying it out for those that maybe have not heard of Facebook's investment, and just kind of just lay it out for us what it and what it means?
Yeah. So I tweet a lot these days, and specifically more in during the quarantine. So yeah, I saw that Facebook invested about 5.7 billion dollars in Reliance Jio, and it's the largest telecom in India. Uh, so I thought, why not write a thread, because I was looking at a lot of misinformation online and I wasn't finding a lot. So I was talking to this guy, Jerry Cap, his handle is on Twitter, and we were talking about it, and he was like, "You should do a thread about it because it seems like you know a little bit." So I did it, and I don't know how, but it got a lot of traction. Uh, so yeah, I would just say, like, so the misinformation was regarding, like, whether it's a good investment or a bad investment, or like India is overrated in terms of investing emerging markets, and China is a better place. So I saw all those arguments, and some of them are totally valid because it depends on your circle of competence, what you can understand. But if you look at Facebook, they basically bought about a 10% stake, like 9.99, which you are allowed as a minority stakeholder. And when they bought it, it was $5.7 billion of investment, and valuing Reliance Geo at $57 billion. Now there are a few things that you need to consider. If you are long Facebook or short Facebook or whatever, as an investor, whether you like Facebook or not. But what Reliance does is, it's a immense free cash flow generator. It's a huge conglomerate. It has various businesses. The biggest of those is a refinery business. And when you
And
look
and
at
that's
their
the
refining
biggest that's
market,
the biggest oil refinery in the world, right?
yeah, it's the largest refiner in the world. And so if you talk about, like, playing in the big boys league, so I wrote about, like, they are the league. It's not that they play in the big boys league, because they already had a commitment from Saudi Aramco for taking about 20% stake in their refinery. So you can imagine, one hand they have, like, Facebook in digital services, and then you have Saudi Aramco. So they are playing, like, with the top guys in the area, in the corporate world. So I wanted to, like, just spread a word about it, like, what is it, how is it, how did it start. So the Mukesh Ambani, who is the richest man in Asia right now, he's he is one of the best and the most shrewd deal maker you would ever you know have heard of. But most people don't know about him outside Asia. So what Geo essentially is, basically it's a big data network which connects about 1.35 billion people. Whoever has like basic, income, and even lower income group, they can access Geo. It's like $4 or $5 monthly plans, and you can basically have unlimited access to internet. I use Vodafone personally, and I pay about $4.6 a month. So I actually calculated, because someone told me that you said $4. It's not $4. I paid this, so I was like, I'm just putting it out there. Uh, so yeah, it's a big investment in terms of how like in monetary terms, but how it can transform Facebook's dominance in India. Already, Facebook is used by pretty much everyone.
Okay, so before we get, because you're about to touch on
And
you're about to touch on some big things here, Ramneek, and I want to, before we get into that, I do want to set a little bit of the stage for Geo platform's growth in terms of, you called them the first new telecommunications company. I think it was a I think Mark Zuckerberg in his post said, or actually this was Ben Thompson. I think they invested about $32 billion to build out this network. And can you talk about kind of the ramifications of how big this bet was, and how absolutely, I mean, I don't think it's too bold to call it a revolution in India, where this company came in and gave millions and millions of people internet access.
yeah, so in terms of new, I didn't mean like it's the is the best or anything like that, which it may be. It may well be, but in terms of new, what I meant was, you don't see a telecom company being built from scratch. You haven't seen that in the last decade in the world, in the whole world. There is no new telecom company that came up. So and became actually scalable for people to use. So Geo came in India in like, they began in launched in 2016, and since then in 4 years they have gathered 400 million users. So that's like 100 million users per year on average, right? So if you look at the scale that these guys have, it's massive. It's there is no uh, there is no comp that I can find. Like, you, the US has the population of US is about like 320 million, right?
Yep.
So like 320, 30 million. So Geo with 40%, like connecting 40% of India, which is like 400 million users, and they can actually reach 1.35 billion people, provided they have money to pay to them. But India being a primarily poor country, uh, everyone doesn't have that kind of money, even if it's $4, because poverty is real. So it's the scale that they have developed is just massive. It's breathtaking, and I don't think anyone appreciates it as much as you know. I don't think even Indians know the scale.
Totally. And
If you ask an
I didn't
average,
appreciate it until I saw your thread, brother. I didn't know that there was basically in the last, 4 years, as you said, 400 million Indians have been brought online. And something Mark Zuckerberg said about 4 years ago when talking about the market in India, he said that for every 10 people that get internet access, one person is lifted out of poverty. So can you talk a little bit about, in the last 4 or 5 years, the opportunities? Are you seeing new opportunities that Geo and this internet access really in general has created for the Indian population?
yeah. So if you think about, so I'll just use like vague examples, because that just are the best ways to understand, because there is nothing that you can quantify here. At least I cannot. But the thing is, if you look at the slums of India, for example, earlier these guys didn't even have electricity. Once they have electricity and you have like basic necessity, then you have internet, right? If you have internet, then you can connect with the world, and you can basically have the same kind of information. If you're competent enough, if you are literate enough to read, you can have the same kind of information like you and I have, right? So we can go online and find whatever and then get the information that we need. And you see the stars coming out on TikTok, and these guys are like real poor guys who are now making money because they are TikTok stars, or like YouTube stars. So that's the kind of scale that I have seen. There are many handles online in like YouTube channels, TikTok channels that I'm seeing. These people wouldn't have been on internet. Forget internet. These people wouldn't have been on anyone's radar if it weren't for Geo. So
Totally, totally. And I think a lot of that, there is, to your point, there is the TikTok, there is the YouTube, there's the creative aspect. And another thing, um, and this was from, I think the Financial Times wrote this in 2018. For the first time, millions of Indians are able to access the internet to register for benefit payments, download school textbooks, or simply watch India beat Pakistan at cricket. The rapid growth in the telecoms network has encouraged some of the world's biggest retail and technology companies to plow money into the country. This was in 2018. Walmart announced the world's largest e-commerce deal, buying 77% of Flipkart for $16 billion. And Google is beefing up its India team, and Netflix plans to add 100 million customers in that country. So to your point, I think this is also expanding not just current opportunities in India, but actually encouraging investment. That's hilarious. I just got a call from a homie. Okay, but actually encouraging investment from other countries. So it kind of has a double effect here, which I think is really cool. So can you also, just for a second, and then I want to get to the meat of this, and we're going to go a little long. I know I said 15 minutes. We're going to go a little bit. We're going to go longer than that, but I don't think people realize how important WhatsApp and Facebook is in India. Can you talk a little bit about that for a second? Hey, brother, let's see, you still there? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm just going to say that one more time. I'll speak a little closer because I got you a little further. So I was just asking, can you how much, just to give people a sense, how much is WhatsApp and Facebook currently ingrained in Indian culture? Let's see. Okay, you know what? I think I lost him here for a second. Let's leave this here. I'm going to join the meeting again. One sec. We have technical difficulties. We're going to work through these. We have the question coming up. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Are we live, gentlemen? Can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I just got a call from someone, and I think it might have messed up the audio. So Ramneek, I
That's
was
okay.
I was just asking, can you just clarify for a second how important Facebook and WhatsApp are to the Indian market, and how much these are actually used by the Indian people?
Yeah, so Facebook, like WhatsApp, is as popular in India as probably Instagram in the US, right? So like everyone knows. Like I wrote in my tweet, I said like probably WhatsApp is as influential in India as probably Seinfeld and Michael
Michael
Jackson
Jack, I
were in
love
the
that. Yep.
US. So like you don't appreciate the scale of these things, of these technologies like Geo and WhatsApp, and what they can do together. It's like even I cannot imagine. Like that's the thing. It's the possibilities here are endless. So you look at something like WhatsApp, you have even people like daily wage earners who earn about like $1 a day. They use WhatsApp on their feature phones. So
Right.
the kind of scale is just massive. If you want to order even a water bottle to your home, you can order it on WhatsApp.
Yeah, totally.
So
I think it's an
yeah, so
interesting. Yeah, keep going. I want you to finish that point. Keep going.
so you can order you can order some probably you can order food, you can order. So you talk about all these platforms which deliver food to you and all those things, but once you have the phone number of the delivery guy or the restaurant owner, you can just message him on WhatsApp and they would just deliver it to you. It's it's even easier than probably using Grubhub or Seamless, right?
Totally.
Because you don't have to go through anything and you exactly know, oh, I'm gonna get a ramen, I'll just get the ramen. If I want to get a hamburger, I'll just get the hamburger. I'll just text the guy.
Right.
So it's just so easy that way, and it is tapping into all those functionalities in India, which are unthinkable anywhere in the world, anywhere else in the world.
Totally. So
Probably in the US, because I know how the US is in terms of these technologies. Like, I know an American would probably never, message a restaurant owner that send me this on a WhatsApp message. They would just go to Seamless and do it.
totally, totally. Thank you for
Yeah, because they don't want that kind of a conversation and
right.
all those things. But in India, it's totally different. I think it's a cultural thing. You're like, okay, I'll just call that guy.
Totally. So now why Facebook investing, and why at this time? What do they plan to do here? What's the strategic move from Zuckerberg here?
So I think personally, Facebook was running into a lot of regulations, and the Reliance being not just one of the most influential, but the most influential company in India, beside HDFC. Uh, it's just gonna get very easy going forward. Not very, if not very easy, it's just gonna get very less, like less and less hard for them to get through the regulations. They won't run into many issues with getting clearance on payments. They won't get any issues related to e-commerce. They won't get issues related to the delivery of the products. They won't get issues related to getting FSSAI. Like, it's kind of a food and drug,
Food
like
and
in
Drug
India, of
Administration.
India, they can easily get those licenses and all the permissions very easy if you have a partner like Reliance to you.
Got it. So I'm curious, because we see this in the Chinese market. The government there making it very difficult for foreign firms to compete with those at home. So I'm curious if you think this sets a bit of a precedent that, not, and granted, I'm not comparing China backing their countries and preventing foreign competition. I'm not comparing that to they're on completely different levels than what India is doing. But do you think that is it a little worrisome at all to you that you mentioned easier for regulations? Is it worrisome at all to you, that a foreign country needs to make a huge investment, needs to, for lack of a better term, kind of buy access to the market? Or do you think this is, I'm not putting a value judgment on it, I'm just wondering, or do you think this is just part of the healthy way of doing business? I'm curious your thoughts on that.
So yeah, it is a very healthy way of doing business, because what happens in India is totally different from China, and it's very similar to what happens in the US. It's just the implementation in India is not that good. So if you think about it, uh, like, India is a democracy, and it's a free enterprise system. You can go in, you can start. Like, I can come in and I can start my company in India today, like, no problem. But the hurdles that you have to face are much more than the US, but like, they are uh, not as bad as in other developing countries, right? So
Got it.
if you think about, like, the government protecting the local competition or anything like that, there's none of that happening. Amazon is the number one e-commerce platform in India. They don't get any benefit, like, they don't get any specific harsh treatment compared with our local people, or businesses. And Facebook doesn't get any harsher treatment compared with other instant messaging services or social media platforms that are there. So these are dominant American companies in India. Facebook, Google, they don't get any harsher treatment compared with, so it's pretty much like the US. So recently, what happened was, a Chinese bank took a stake in India's largest banking company, financial company, HDFC, and they took like 1% stake. Earlier they had 0.8%. So once you have 1%, you have to report it to the Security Exchange Board of India, and they did that, and there was an outrage, like why is Chinese company taking over an Indian company? Like it was just 1% stake, and why is Chinese company taking over Indian company, and what's the deal with it? Why they want to do it during the pandemic, which was actually brewing in China and world is suffering from. So all those like ethical and moral questions at this time, but at the same time, Indian government was like, okay, we are going to look into it, and we are going to, like put some restrictions on Chinese companies taking over Indian companies. But then Chinese government actually sued Indian government because
Right.
they said India is a free trade country. So you can tell that there is a rule of law that's there, that you can come in India, take over an Indian company, and sue India, and you'll be heard.
Right. Right. It's a great litmus test.
Right. So like it's pretty much like the U.S.
Got it. Right. Okay. Cool. Is there anything I have one? I have another final not another final question. But is there anything related to this deal? I always like to remind people that I think people underrate Zuckerberg's as a CEO. The fact that he purchased Instagram for $1 billion before Facebook's IPO, right before Facebook's IPO, and the fact that he acquired WhatsApp for $19 billion. These are two moves that, if he did not have control of the company like he does, he has a vast amount of control of Facebook, more so than a lot of other public companies, maybe even the most control. And correct me if I'm wrong on that. But do you think what do you think this move kind of says about Zuckerberg's legacy or him as a leader?
He's ruthless. He's one of the smartest guys in the corporate world. There's no doubt about that, and he's so confident. For him, it's about soul in the game. It's not just about money. You can tell that he doesn't use all his wealth or something like that. Like he's pretty much like in pretty much like Warren Buffett in terms of using his wealth. He lives humbly. He lives it, it's about mission for him. Like
Right.
he didn't sell out to Yahoo when he was like in his early 20s, right? So he didn't sell out to Yahoo for $1 billion just because for him it was the mission. He said, I read a thread on Twitter by this guy called Mostly Borrowed Ideas. So
Yes, I
this
think
guy,
I read that same thing. Yes.
yeah, well, he said, like, Zuckerberg at the time in his early 20s, he said basically, if he sells out, he's going to start another social platform. So,
Right.
like, it's
Right.
not for him. It's not even about fun. It's about mission. Like, he wants to connect the whole damn world. Like, he wants every single person on the planet to be on Facebook, to be connected, and it's real. And he is doing that. Who has done that? Like, if you think about it, who has done that? Except like probably Google. Who has done that? Google has given
Right.
information to people in terms of connecting all the bloggers of the world, or the websites of the world, businesses of the world together with like the communities who actually want their products and want the information. But who has done that except Google and Facebook? And Zuckerberg comes to mind. Like, he is the man behind this behemoth that he's created.
Right, absolutely. And Max, I know we got you on. We're gonna have you come on just next in just a couple minutes. I appreciate you coming on. But Ramneek, one more question. You mentioned in that tweet thread, which again everyone will link to. It's a very excellent thread. I highly recommend anyone interested in this deal read it. But you said, long term, I stay bullish on the U.S. more than any other country in the world. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so like the US is an amazing country. Like, if you think about the US history, they created the largest and the best companies in the world. There is no country in the world which keeps on churning out companies like that. It's so you had, earlier, whatever, like Nifty 50 era, you had Xerox, Polaroid. These companies dominated for a while. Then you had a behemoth like IBM at the time, and which is still operational. Pretty amazing that it's still operational. And if you had GE, which is almost like 100-year-old company. You have Disney, which is a 100-year-old company, 97-year-old company. So you have all these companies, and now you have the first $1 trillion company in Apple. Then you have second $1 trillion company in Microsoft, third $1 trillion company in Amazon, $4 trillion company in probably Google. So you have, and $5 trillion company in probably Facebook. So you have like all these companies, one after the other, and I am 100% sure that a $2 trillion company will come from the US, and a $5 trillion company will first come from the US. So there is no doubt, because there is some meritocracy that US has, because I lived there for 4 years. Like, I got the job offers, uh, I got the job offer 3 months before I was about to graduate. Probably I was lucky or whatever, but there were few even citizens of the US who didn't get the job in my class. So, like, that says something about the US, because they tell you, if you have talent, you can actually progress. If you have talent, you know, there is no stopping you. So if you have that kind of a culture, or a broad corporate culture like that, I don't think, and innovation, definitely. Like, earlier you had companies coming out from Seattle, then you had companies coming out from Silicon Valley, then you had companies coming out from, you had companies, great companies, like media companies coming out from Denver, Colorado. So it's just phenomenal country to bet on.
Right.
There is no country like the US. And stability, definitely. If you want to invest in a country, and US is looked upon by the world, as like, they keep it on a pedestal, and they are very good at marketing. The Americans are great at marketing. The ingenuity, the authenticity is phenomenal. Like, you see with companies like Facebook, Google, they are absolutely local companies in India.
Right.
There's no country which does that.
Right, right. Well, Ramneek, I really appreciate you running through that. You just got me all fired up about the United States and being a citizen here. I think a lot of people don't understand how lucky they are, and how much
Yeah, they
opportunity
don't appreciate it enough.
they don't appreciate it enough. I think you're absolutely right. This is an amazing country to be in, and I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts. I hope we can talk again in the future, and keep doing your thing, brother. Keep I know you said at the end of your tweet, you said you usually keep your ideas to yourself because you don't want to talk out of hand or talk about things you don't know enough about. But I encourage you to keep doing your thing. Talk about the things you do know about. So thank you so much, Ramneek, for coming on, and have a great sleep, because you're probably going to sleep soon. So really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.